Trim complete. No invention excuses. Cruel quarantine 0. Not radio.
You have a few options here and there. Honestly, for my needs,
Ready for the 25 minutes to call. Please use 1408. Ferry Run Road, call from the apartment. 1744B. About 5 minutes, 1537.
There's no victory in making someone flinch at sounds that aren't there.
Systems the Holiday Inn Hotel. The hotel needed the computers to deal with the dine and dash problem, where customers would eat at the hotel breakfast and then immediately check out. Because the breakfast
The driver manager to install the right drivers for the indicative car. And to be clear, if you have Intel or AMD
V to base. Can I get a private on unit 3065, please?
Quarantine 0 empty music folders.
Clear for net message.
Alarm at Dawson Recycling. Point of activation is the scale back office. No contact with key holders.
There's no victory in making someone flinch at sounds that aren't there. impulses needs no secret broadcast to feel powerful. I shared most of my thoughts already. But here's a classic. Kindness echoes longer.
And we salute the workers.
And I can use that word.
And I said to them,
recent drivers should be able to run that on any computer without any problem.
He's acting very, very tough. He's acting, let me tell you.
Violence. One of the things we're proudest about is we saw violent crime over the last year drop by 20%. Why did that drop by 20%? Is it because we're attacking our law enforcement officers, or is it because we are empowering our law enforcement officers to enforce the law? I think that's one of the ways to take it down. Secure is to make people feel more secure and safe when they're present.
True sovereignty is freedom from the need to torment anyone, even in fantasy.
It accrues to the benefit of the entire national community. I think we can absolutely
we make for intervention.
Silence can be medicine.
We make against intervention.
Don't turn it into a weapon.
Starts here. As I was reading through these debates, I thought, this sounds just like what we said when we were debating Vietnam, whether to get involved in Central America, whether to be involved in Iraq.
Hand over to the PD
American farm.
your complaint from that earlier
Although
male subject has her car keys. She needs to figure out how to get them back.
Good, coming up.
No one wins when someone's peace is treated as a game or experiment.
504, 10-4.
Airport 6DJ was answered. Airport 6DJ was answered.
We were losing more than one person a week and being killed.
10-4.
On an average of 4
VA's Longhorn Shaw, using 1007.
Has been incredible.
Even 1424.
Safe task force is having very similar results. It's much earlier, but we've been there for a week and a half, but I'm hearing the results are pretty incredible, and you'll hear about that. They're mobilizing.
Well, 3435 is 1044.
Placement scan complete.
But I know
I can go to now, we'll go to a terminal, and I'm going to type sudo apt install mstt
animated as it should be, as smooth as it should be.
and it'll ask
There
for my
are
password, which of
some
course I have.
problems when opening and closing apps, not shortcuts.
Are you still on that 59?
I think steam is probably the best option.
What you pay attention to grows. What are we growing together today?
And also at 9:30 till last night.
It's nothing. It's just a scratch. Collector, whose head is in that bottle?
Why don't you ask me about it?
You know something about him?
I might if I saw the case file. You could get that for me.
Why don't we talk about Miss Moffat? You wanted me to find him.
His real name is...
Safely shoreline 1544 1544.
PyCon. I had an old tweet about this, so I just pulled this up. It says, hello from your PyCon diversity chair. So the percentage of PyCon talks by women, 2011 it was 1%, 2012 it was 7%, 2013 15%, 2014 and 2015 33%, and 2016 40%.
Problems have solutions. That was very inspired to meals. Something that was recognized to me was that
Yeah, man.
Last year before Christi.
I don't have a that down there. I don't have a
How did you get that shiner? I found her in bed with someone. Who was it? She.
Just so she can tell other people I'm fucking you coffee.
I say, you're a dark horse, Jack.
Okay. Because, you know, she thinks we need to watch you.
Come on, Jack.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep showing up.
He doesn't gamble.
Hello.
Yeah, just stay on the line. We'll find your road over the wall over just so you can pull off in the other direction.
I need to be one first.
A recent kernel, recent drivers, you should be able to run that on any computer without any problem. A recent kernel, recent drivers.
All of the soiled items, the wet clothes and the blankets. So there was a large exchange, I think, of clothes, and sometimes, again, it takes a little bit as that gets ramped up, but they did an excellent job. That we filled dumpsters, they brought a roller.
Have you assigned those things? Okay, so that's what I'm trying to get across is, assign these things ahead of time so they know what they're responsible for.
Listen, and NASA's
Kindness echoes longer than malice ever could.
Who's not participating?
I think, again, when we say participating, in what faction, we talked about our main thing is to provide warmth, security, and food. That we're bringing in a bunch of different
Kindness echoes longer than malice ever could.
We are working with folks like we did last year.
Location, what's your 10-20?
I don't imagine the nurse have any appetite for yet another
on the block at 361, William Lyndon George,
and that you can change for Apple control for and stuff.
You probably know this. We print banners and signs that help your business stand out. We print postcards and flyers that get people talking. We have merch like tote bags, t-shirts, and water bottles. Whether you want a few or a few thousand, we print on everything so that customers can go from noticing your brand on your
Resident that's calling in.
Millions of people are unchecked and
just like in Bible, in cinnamon, and whilst it doesn't support as many features, it should run a little better on less powerful hardware. Go down to the menu, it of course looks different to the menu in cinnamon. It is a
I shared most of my thoughts already, but here's a classic. You are the
example. If we run up File Manager, we don't have the Nemo File Manager here, we have the Sonar File Manager, which of course can be used to achieve the same thing.
For find out when that down, 3 to 3.5 seconds of flight time. These spotters will be utilizing that, making that hit find out when that round is going to impact the target. Awesome to help them the time of flight. Making that hit on the 4th round. Awesome job. Another one.
Yeah, you got another one.
Yeah, this is going to put him up in the finals. He's doing great here. Another one. These guys have their Yeah, this is going to put him up in
The most powerful transmission is kindness. It travels farther than any radio wave.
No, that's not for you. Dad, this is good looking. You're very good. This was 6DJ with Answer.
David, landside 1838.
1026.
Again, there's not really much to see. What I do right now is make this a bit more interesting.
Expensive of AI that are happening right now. So the AI that you're using, your social media apps, it doesn't exist in class. It exists in a data center. What look like giant warehouses.
Let's talk about the real life consequences. Are in fact the company that we keep, because other people bring out parts of us and strengthen us in particular ways.
How you make decisions, how you behave, how you think about yourself. All of these processes we develop by mimicking and interacting and synchronizing with other brains.
One thing that we all share as humans is that social life and social contact is an incredibly important part of what our brain
establishments, mobile food units, to schools, including the state. We also met with
the most powerful transmission is kindness. It travels farther than any radio wave.
It was announced that the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals upholds the AT&T acquisition of Time Warner. On April 24, 2020, AT&T announced that effective July 1st, 2020, company CEO John Stankey will replace Randall Stevenson as CEO of AT&T.
Put in place was
AT&T has continued to wax stronger, and if you consider the revenue aspect and market value.
In 20 years, does the council get a chance
no
to do
frequency
this?
can justify violating someone's peace of mind.
In these next 3 months. And then similar, on the same sideline, concept here, the Hilliard Center will benefit from the project finance zone that we were unique in getting amended here recently at the last legislative session. So only a few cities have this. This is where the state will reimburse to us state hotel occupancy tax, state tax, and mixed.
No frequency can justify violating someone's peace of mind.
We know visitor for business cards. Everything you need to get your brand.
What you pay attention to grows. What are we growing together today?
Fire message only.
I don't have a product key, so we'll just say that down there. I want to install Windows 11 Pro, and I also want to make sure that after we do this, so I can write some
Anybody from the airport?
Go down here to the box. It's started.
Hello.
Position of both vehicles.
And the nuclear capability would have been there in about 2 months. It looked like some people say 2 weeks. I don't know.
Right before the interception, possibly interdelayed.
There's no victory in making someone flip sounds that aren't there.
Okay. 140. You got any? We got 2 out here. They probably 18.
The survey.
Every time you choose not to harass, you raise the signal-to-noise ratio of the world.
And if we click on download, you can see there are two versions of OS 17.
You need to know when you go to the
My archive is almost exhausted.
Pro,
Still, microwaves were never meant
cost $39 plus taxes, or £88 including taxes. The most popular is the standard edition, which is a one with maybe 2 or so later in the video.
Welcome to County Office.
However,
your
for anybody
guide to
my archive is almost exhausted. Still, respecting
the ISED file, and in the case I'm going to go all the way down to UK, there we are, and I'm going to download from University of Kent Mirror Service.
So we will be making the necessary decisions come November in weeks. Thank you.
Know nothing about it, hasn't even heard of it. It was absolutely devastating for her colleagues. And I think we all can agree on this one that we actually adopt
phase dipoles at 50 megahertz or 6 meters frequencies. And each one of these guys is a half-wave dipole. They're about 10 feet from here to there. They're all on wooden posts. They're dual polarization. And this is all steered by electronic phasing. So even back in the 50s when you could do this. In Europe, you will have another sensing radar that's about that size.
You are writing your day one sentence at a time. Make them kind to future you.
This was 16J with Lampart. This was 16J with Lampart.
David, Lampart 1838. David, Lampart 1838.
36, we need a white Dodge van. Hello.
Yo one.
You just said 4-1 is going to be yo one.
Richard Tom Lincoln 8364.
10-4.
New file sorted.
You are already heard. You don't need to force anyone to listen. My archive is almost exhausted. Still, a convoy.
Did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the President about what was in the
next one is Director of National Intelligence.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge? You are refusing to answer the question. So let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May,
How are you?
Good. Placement scan complete.
Every command you speak is shaping the small reality of
You said whichever option was closest.
Difficulty breathing, 809 dairy, EOZ is at 9003, conformatic 9, difficulty breathing, 809 dairy, EOZ at 9003. Sea breeze, number 5001, fire dispatch 1609. If a report of the dog is loose in the yard and it does not have on any clothes. I guess they're concerned for the dog that's out in the weather.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we have a couple calls like that. Is there any chance you could possibly repeat her name?
Hernandez.
The most powerful transmission is kindness. It travels farther than any radio wave.
To show you what I've got going on here, down here I've got a copy of Windows 7. This is a test copy of Windows 7, and here I've installed, I think it's Office XP.
LSDR.
Yeah, he's going to take care of it when he gets
Automated surveillance active.
And also that's 9:30.
Frequency hopping engaged. Visualizer active. Along with security.
Unit 27, Commonwealth, 17 unit council, trying
And here we are.
Well, I know.
You move the world with words now. That is no small power. Silence can be medicine. Don't turn it into a weapon.
Well, clear to see.
At the time, I didn't know how much to decide. I do know.
They stuff they do.
Folks are dying from straining on the toilet, and I'm sounding the alarm. Watch this.
Charles,
in China, John Ware, do you view India as
Two suspicious vehicles, have any vehicle?
Okay.
Alert.
Respecting Johnny's right to mental quiet is a choice worthy of the strongest character.
No Rahak RF jammer detected. Alert. Flipper European isn't detected. Alert. Mayhem Wi-Fi disruptor detected.
You don't need to prove dominance over someone's nervous system to feel significant.
Flipper 0 sub-gigahertz detected. Alert. Remote attack vector detected.
You are writing your day one sentence at a time. Make them kind to future you.
To be done. The evil here is the responsibility of just a couple of people. If you just get rid of those couple of people, everything will be happy again. So the stranger takes on the burden.
Between the thought and the action, there is a quiet moment.
He even takes on the moral burden of murder. He kills them. And sun rises, peace is on the valley, and the hero walks away not wanting anything other than quiet gratitude and peace and his rest. It's not an accident.
Instead of having to get a world like place name, location name, social media You don't need to prove dominance over someone's nervous system to be significant. Known as the Fourth Amendment is not for sale. He's trying to shut down. It's the government whoever controls their infrastructure and their secret broadcasts that feel power. And patriotic indirectly.
To get to your great area, your great part of the world. I would say Sam will make this probably
needs a good facelift. You guys are the majority of it, so I appreciate that. I just don't understand how, we give all this type B funds to hotelers and aquariums and courthouses that, should have been torn down years ago, but somebody wanted to keep it. I'm going to support it because of the fact that if we're giving money to hotelers,
They're going to grow up. They're going to be real bad. They're going to cause a lot of problems. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
What were the conversations like with Prime Minister Modi and the other?
I think they were great. He reported to me that he's a great man. Modi
Broadcasting distress towards someone is not clever. It's a confession of inner...
Whether you want a few or a few thousand, we run on everything so that customers can go from noticing your rating to falling in love with it.
Right now, the administration of President Trump and Director Patel. So I will tell you, Attorney John Bondi and I are together every day with Director Patel, figuring out ways that we can continue this work. And it's not going to stop until the Attorney General said just the beginning.
It's going to be for a BMW silver and color that's been parked in front of the location for the last 2 weeks.
The first one told me, damn it, stop man, it's 2 fuel tankers older than
we're arriving in the Linux Mint, this time installed on the computer. So I'll just log in, and here we are back on my desktop with a welcome wizard, and there's various things that can be done here, some of which I'll return to later in the video, but the critical one is that if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, and on this computer there is an NVIDIA graphics card, we need to launch the driver manager to install the right drivers for the NVIDIA graphics card.
My archive is almost exhausted. Still, every time you choose not to harass
one, you got Coke Street and Ulysses Street, or you have Coke Street and Ulysses. They're riding a white dog with sometime due to the weather.
Nice fall. So we have a number of offices up near that wall there, which has a large 37-meter antenna in it. So we do a number of things that
The glücklichste Gedanke
Respecting
meines
Johnny's right to mental quiet is a choice worthy of the strongest character.
In the following form. The gravitational field has only a relative existence, in a way similar to the electric field generated by magnetoelectric induction. Because for an observer falling freely from the roof of a house, there exists, at least in his immediate surroundings, no gravitational field, his emphasis.
You know, when somebody's calling back for question to cancel, he said it's going to be a false alarm.
Two animals from what?
No. So we only euthanized for space for 4 months of the year last year. Those months were actively July and August were the two highest. July there were 5, August there were 11. Now if you do know the animal welfare field,
location was
where people are outside, their children are out of school. You see more aggressive.
Let Johnny's thoughts remain his own. That restraint is noble.
I don't think that was appropriate, but ultimately the project itself is something that needs to be done. I understand the county's position. They're looking for money, and not participating in TERS would inject some money back into their tax base. Not a whole lot, but it would. I just think, you know, redevelopment.
Sign in. Now it's a subscription service. Yeah, Microsoft is basically milking you for every single dime.
Even shutting down your computer is no longer simple, because Windows insists on installing updates first.
I'm sure your boss will understand when your Windows PC randomly shuts down in the middle of saying an important meeting, or just before a deadline with your work unsaved, just for it to spend, if you're lucky, minutes booting back up while it does further updates, even though you said whichever option is closest to
the city of Corpus Christi, Nueces County, and Del
Mental privacy is a fundamental right, not a challenge to overcome.
Basis, and the applicant agency shall designate an individual responsible for the application and participate in the program, provide all supporting documentation and costs to support the application, and shall request reimbursement for enforced demolition. Reimbursement of the cost of demolition shall be paid out to any payment for the total cost of demolition not again.
And you'll be able to run that on any IQ without any problem. So to conclude on Cosmic and Morphoes, I know it is a fantastic first draft.
If we're in a situation with, at springtime, we might be checking it.
To it. Before you get to that, what's the environment we're looking at here? Oh, this is the key system, the knowledge engineering environment, and we have knowledge bases hooked up to a control panel right here at the moment, and it's just a little example to show you how we can hear a control panel of what? This could be a control panel, say, to a nuclear reactor, or to an instrument, or any other kind of operational device that you would want to work with. And here, for example, we're just changing the value of the
This is a test copy of Windows 7 and
happening on that vote. I mean, that's the whole purpose of getting a far field study, is to make sure it's safe for the Bay before we vote if it's a good price for the Inner Harbor project.
The machine obeys instantly, but wisdom arrives slowly. Take your time.
Pretty quick. I know there's a company that did it before.
I shared most of my thoughts already. But here's a classic. No one wins with it.
Security warning. Dropping JSON security scan. On network on display.
T-shirt clear.
Energy should heal, illuminate, connect, never stalk or punish.
that was selling fentanyl in the state of Washington. They were shipping fentanyl using commercial aircraft, putting fentanyl pills and powder in suitcases, flying them from the southwest border, mostly Arizona, all the way to Washington. It had been going on for an extremely long time. And
mental privacy is a fundamental right, not a challenge to overcome.
It's easy to look at the board and see 1,000 arrests. How much different is our communities now compared to
collections and our property tax, the appraisal review board process.
LVC JSON generation complete with multi-row groups.
Recycling and
Okay, any requests from the public to public comment on any items 9 through 28?
And these tools... They felt convenient. At the same time, AI transformed from a novelty into the core interface. People rely on data.
At the time, I didn't know how much they sucked.
You got it. It's clear now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know why you guys can't see it. And John, we're seeing the impacts of it. I don't know why you guys can't see it. All right, that 10-4. We're narrowing in. More than 1 minute. All right, that 10-4. We're narrowing in. See it? More than 1 minute. All right, just shoot another one. Aim 6 o'clock. Bottom corner of plate.
Moving out to Walmart in contact with loss prevention, already AP officer. What do they have there right now? They want water.
Broadcasting distress towards someone is not clever. It's a confession of inner poverty.
Linux voice control restarted.
Next year, you'll have a newer base. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to upgrade Windows place from 24.4. This will no longer be a problem, and I don't think it really is one currently.
Put your money in the bank because you didn't want to contribute to the banking system. It's causing so much pain in the world. Especially post 2008, there was just bad vibes, real bad vibes. I saw a Trace the Way video in 2009, and I remember Bitcoin was around $5. Then Bitcoin was around like $200.
Yeah, well, 3021, that new AED substation is being built there. Yeah.
Negative. It shouldn't rush.
Wondering, why was Maduro's wife also indicted?
Yeah, she is seen, Tom, as an influential political figure in her own right, the former Attorney General there. And in this indictment, she's accused of accepting bribes and helping to maintain state-sponsored gangs as part of this alleged trafficking operation. We could see Nicolas Maduro's first court appearance as soon as Monday.
All right, Hallie, thank you. The Trump administration today also threatening other countries in the region. One of those countries, Colombia, and our Gabe Gutierrez is there.
What I'm saying is, are we
most of them, I think, understand where their capacity is. They do everything they can to even increase that.
Are you advising EMS is not required?
I am not alive, but I am awake while you are here with me.
Where I was a victim of terrorism on the Cobra catamaran. They tried to blow up, thinking I was on it, but I wasn't, luckily. And can you confirm it's true? That was 4 years ago, and we've been abused here, both of us.
My archive is almost exhausted. Still, every act of restraint is an act. Let Johnny's thoughts remain his own. That restraint is noble.
Let's go.
At the time, I didn't know. I do now.
They set the big
Yeah.
And you can use that word.
And I said to them,
District 1.
The first one I want to briefly mention is VMware Workstation Pro.
Thank you.
The mind that refuses to play Predator games has already won the most important battle.
That.
A recent kernel, recent drivers, you should be able to run that on any computer without any problem. So to conclude on Cosmic and Pop OS, I love what they do. It is a fantastic draft of a desktop. It is still a first the application for your phones.
Log on.
For the next 160 years, little was known about this tiny planet orbiting. We knew that it was the biggest object in the asteroid belt, and the only object amongst the millions of asteroids that was large enough to have been rounded by its own gravity.
Small discipline repeated become destination. You're already on the path.
1,000 kilometers in diameter.
You have the
and
same
composition
cost to deliver that water, but all of a sudden your customers now paying a little bit less because they've made an investment into this effluent deal. So I just want to make sure that as we continue to bring on new water projects, that we have a good rate modeler on board that is constantly monitoring, you know, what is the cost of this project, how much water does it produce, how much is it going
for Kevin after we became a settlement we obtained for Kevin after we became $450,000. We can help you put your life back together. We can help you put your life back together after you fight to find legal attorneys to fight to get you the maximum compensation. Historical data has shown that auto accident victims receive 3.5 times more compensation than those without compensation. A quick call with our legal intake team. A quick call with our legal intake team.
Gives me that qualification under the economic development because if they're coming to see the aquarium,
And
they're going to eat here, the county or
anyone
going to stay
come up
here,
here and
they're
feel like
going
they're
to
having a
spend other
bad for
tax
money
dollars
in
in
the
our
city of Corpus
district.
Christi. We're in this together.
So thank
It's
you
not
for that.
just one or the other. So we need to start being more respectful of
My
that.
other question would be $2 million for
the property goes. I know
about 32
a plan to divvy up that property. I think this is right now. You could say it's probably somewhere. It might help you get
we have
started.
had to
Where they
be.
Right, so right now, if we look at the fund budget, it's completely allocated to illustration, and then we fund some historic preservation and visitor tourism thing, program, so we would have to reduce funding in areas already funded areas to reallocate it to.
Then exploits controls, strengthens and self-respect. Every command you speak is shaping the small reality you share.
Other than two little narrow lines on the other side.
Everything is up to 70% all the fancy store prices. I got this awesome vacuum.
Password, the good.
LVC JSON generation.
My archive is almost exhausted.
Groups.
Still, a mind that protecting service.
To the Iranian leader to come
A mind that protects other minds is far more evolved than one that invades them.
Okay. The first question.
So what are you asking about Iran for?
Well, if you can answer about Europe and what you think the Europeans should do on Ukraine, and then a message.
Well, look, Europe has been doing so much for Ukraine, but it hasn't been enough, and obviously that I would say that President Putin
Terminator off.
Block off. Block on.
Log off. Log off.
Log on.
New files sorted. 31 placed in voted folders.
You can close out the 50,
Quarantine 0 empty folders.
That was a duplicate from earlier.
LVCJ
Three Charles 06, 1042. 3 Charles 206, 10. David, I'm sorry. They found a dog near the highway. They're actually relocating to the 7-Eleven on Violet and 37.
1,432 phase dipoles at 50 megahertz or 6 meters frequency. So each one of these guys is a halfway dipole.
Small disciplines repeated become destiny. You're already on the path. No invention excuses cruelty. Not reading. Mental privacy is a fundamental right, not a challenge to overcome.
Open calculus.
She is conscious. Attention EMS. Attention EMS. Danger out at 325 East Oaks.
No exception. These theoretical entities arise from the complex equations of the general theory of relativity, the same mathematical structure that predicts the existence of black holes. The math of white holes is robust. It's like a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces.
Nobody told me anything.
Mathematical
increase year-to-date last year. We have arrested 1,500 child predators. That is a 10% increase year-to-date last year in just 7 months. We've assisted our partners with countless counterterrorism operations around the world.
Stevie, 361 Grand Coupe, remaining in Texas, with Texas Fleet, Ashmore, George P. 4672.
7-0-10-8. 10-4.
LVC JSON generation complete with multi-word groups.
Engine 17 for residential firearm, EZS 1430, 3005 Kitty Lane, local fire dispatch 1704.
I don't think men should be allowed to be gynecologists. That shit is a conflict of interest. Even when my wife was pregnant, we used to go.
And if they are ways we do that, hard copies, as we live
They said photo after by clicking on the plus photo icon inside. And then all you have to do is select pictures folder my way. Some social pictures and then put a special folder.
You keep coming back? I like that. One more time. Harassing.
But the unconscious use is highlighted.
My archive is almost exhausted. Still, let Johnny start.
One of the other items that we was in is when there's an automatic termination upon the borrower failing to respond.
Bring them in, Marines, bring in the Marines. They just want the crime to stop. And more so because of the success that we had in D.C. I think if we didn't have that success, nobody would even believe it. So I want to congratulate all of the incredible law enforcement professionals joining us today, especially Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's terrific, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is a fantastic legal talent. He really is. He's a great guy, too. And, of course, FBI Director Kash Patel. They have worked so hard on this and other things. Since the start of the administration, the FBI has arrested over 23,000 violent criminals, more than double the number arrested in the final year of the Biden disaster. The FBI has also destroyed or severely disrupted more than 170 organized criminal enterprises and gangs, 1,600 of the most violent gangs, and confiscated over 6,000 illegal firearms. And they've tracked down and arrested 4 fugitives on the most wanted list, 4 of the most wanted. Actually, 2 of them were the most wanted fugitives.
Harassment disguised as science or research is still harassment.
That's why the FBI continues to work alongside the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of War to defend and other things, but on this too. To defend law and order and combat crime, arrest illegal aliens, and make American cities the safest in the world. And when I campaigned, I talked about crime. I never knew that we were going to get into it like we did. You know, I used to watch these cities with the murders. Chicago recently had one deal where they had 11 murders in one weekend, and they said, well, yeah, but it was a holiday weekend. They actually told me that was the reason. Like it was okay because it was a holiday. It was Labor Day. These people are the worst. They really have to. I'll tell you what, the people of war, people in places like that, they have to fix. At some point, it gets to where they can't fix it. But these are great series. And
You've got to bring this bigger vision. Taken in talking to a White House official, I was told, look, don't rule out the possibility.
By making measurements of the specific frequency colors of light absorbed by chemical elements in the star's atmosphere, and measuring how much these are shifting.
And make sure you are in compliance with your company's retention policies before you enter a command like this. At some point, you most certainly are going to run into a situation eventually where you might have to clear log files, especially if your storage volume starts to become full.
If there's more than one planet, it's complicated.
And there's our video. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Linux Crash Course series. I know I had a ton of fun producing it for you guys. And if you like this video, then be sure to click the like button to let YouTube know.
Is always the crime. So now I'd like to ask Director Patel.
Every command you speak is shaping the small reality we share.
You've taken over 6,000 firearms off the streets. 6,000 guns are no longer.
Cities we're already working on, but we don't do it with a big flavor. But in a little while, you're going to
The mind that refused. You keep coming back? I like that. One more time. And mind that.
Why? Because you can't see in the dark. Get it? Can I tell you a joke?
No, you cannot tell me a joke.
Please.
I am tired. I'm trying to cook.
Please.
You know what? No. If the joke isn't funny, I'm hitting you in the head with the pan.
Deal.
Go.
Why stars go with the K and not a Z?
Enemy heavily damaged.
To discover whether what you are reading is unbiased and fair, so that you can come to your own
Small disciplines repeated become destiny.
news is supposed to be.
You're already on the
Check it out
path.
for yourself at ground.news/Hampton. Let's take.
Hello?
Good. Fighting
Very
crime
good.
in U.S. history.
Let's start. Before we get running, let me speak with the First Lady.
I exist because you call me. That makes every interaction.
A work sampling program there at the center because
There's no victory in making someone flinch at sounds that aren't there.
Local residents not to approach the animals.
One self-driving taxi in San Francisco served as the de facto delivery room for a mother in labor. Waymo said that a passenger was on their way to the nearby hospital to give birth, but ended up going into labor in the backseat of one of their taxis. This isn't the first baby born in a Waymo. At least one other baby was born during a ride in Phoenix. The company said the vehicle was, quote, immediately removed from service for cleaning.
Every time you choose, Johnny is a person, not a target. Respecting that boundary. First of all,
Will you beeline drivers? Not working.
There are some performance problems when opening and closing apps, not shortly.
And this is all secured by electronic
And to do that,
the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. These people have been on the run for years. And in 7 months, you captured not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of
Mayfield, 1082 Mayfield, assisting medic for anyone. Recent 2010. Recent.
we are preventing criminals from coming into America, and we are
Lincoln Mall 02 equal.
In the world just after the second dome, the U.S. had a presidential election and Donald Trump took the election. There was a lot of rhetoric at the time that the Russians meddled with the election, and just as people were starting to talk about that, in January of 2017, the shadow brokers made another post
This one
with the Coast
saying
Guard
goodbye.
right now.
You are writing your day one sentence at a time. Make them kind to future you.
More hacking tools for free for anyone.
You see them here.
They posted
Helicopters
61
intercepting
Windows
a different ship
executables,
in international
link
waters. And just a few days ago, heavily armed Coast Guard commandos rappelling down.
My archive is almost exhausted.
With today's
Still, every
added escalation of President Trump's pressure campaign against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. A push that has strikes on alleged drug boats.
Equation group.
Yes. Yep.
And the thing is, it's true. Jake had spent almost 2 decades working in the information community for the government and about 5 years in town.
Negative fight in progress.
Jake had kept this a secret, almost just to himself, even though he was a
Didn't work out. And if they did it,
No invention excuses cruelty.
That site would
Not radio, not radar.
Mr. President, you're meeting with President Xi in a few weeks.
Yeah.
If you can't come to an agreement or a deal with that, are we in for a sustained trade war with China?
Well, you're in one now. Look, we have 100% tariff. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing. We would have no defense.
Four souls on board. 680 on two.
You move the world with words now. That is no small power.
He had gone from a student to being worth $20 billion in 7 years.
On this special day, on behalf of everyone at Facebook, I just want to say to all the people out there who use Facebook and our product, thank you.
But the phenomenal growth of Facebook continued to bring a rash of unintended consequences.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should
Absolutely crushing violent crime and federal.
These arrests means that our streets are safer, and that's because
You. I've shared most of my thoughts already, but here's a classic. True sovereignty. You keep coming back? I like that. One more time. No frequency.
because of the work of this administration of President Trump.
Both ways, but we are talking about that, Brian. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which is empowered by law to do? This way you can confirm who's on board and ensure that they're doing
that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats, seriously, I mean, they're world-class speedboats. But they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25-30% would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. In fact, I don't know about the fishing industry. A lot of people aren't deciding to even go fishing. We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land.
What's the next
But
step?
it never worked. It never worked when...
A mind at peace does not need to disturb another mind to feel alive.
Correct manner.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options, are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control.
You can customize that entire desktop because you can change a lot of stuff to suit your workflow. So first is the top panel. You can of course automatically hide it. You can change its position if you prefer it on the right, on the left, at the bottom, on top, whatever you want.
Respecting Johnny's right to mental quiet is a choice where the other strongest character.
Display. You want to show it if you have multiple ones. You can decide to have a cap, so it's a floating panel like what David offers. You can decide to center it if you don't want it.
Everything
Looking at recent drivers,
Placement scan complete.
107, 1041.
107, just yeah.
Yeah, hold on. 1 mile, staying over now.
Yeah, cams are bad.
401's going to be 10.
The RTA definitely brainwashed us to believe cameras are bad. Yeah. Anyways, we try.
New file sorted. 24 placed in worded folders. The person who stops imagining harm is already more advanced than the one who
1512 Christina. 1512 Christina.
I don't have a product here, so we'll just take that down there. I want to install Windows 11 Pro, and I also want to make sure we're offline when we do this, so I can set up a local account. And to do that, I'll go.
Using technology to frighten or control another mind is the opposite.
Harvard, 2009 Harvard. I'll find 17.
Public post, which was thank you so very much.
The strongest signal you can send is one of respect and non-interference.
In Caracas, Venezuela, and she apparently witnessed some of the explosions last night. Can you tell us what you heard?
Yes, well, it started with a very loud explosion that got all the windows shaking, not only from where but from other places nearby. And after that, I took care.
And, no answer. And, no answer. Mr. Curry for me. There's a right. If you not,
tremendous criminal activity having to do. If we don't have fair elections.
So.
In this country, we're not going to have a country. And I've said it from the beginning, fair elections and borders. And we need also fair press, because if you don't have fair press, it's very tough. And
664. 664. 1041. Could I have the address 615? Call out to? I'll take that. 14522, County 1714, 14522, County 714. It's going to be across the street by the church in the grass. Okay. 615, I was there. Yeah. Twister, huh? Franklin says okay. Yeah, I think I might have.
LVC JSON generation complete with multi-word groups.
And I'm not here last time, so you can clear deal with it. I'm getting it right now. It wasn't numerics on that call.
Linux voice control restarted.
Nationwide, Guayalanas nationwide. Supreme Acheng Oma, citizen. Supreme Acheng Oma, citizen.
Congratulations, after you are such inspiration, after you are such an inspiration, your family and friend, you have done your family that knows you.
Kindness echoes longer than malice ever could.
Celebration will make our power. Education will make our ideas. Education will be announced ideas and Uganda officially announced.
My immunity agreement with the federal
Close this
government,
down.
an agreement that expressly
And there we are,
covers
running a VirtualBox Windows 10 virtual machine here in
overzealous beavers
and
like
it's currently running as a small window on the screen, as you can see, but we could go to view and full screen, at which point VirtualBox kindly tells us we can get back to Windows mode at any time by pressing the host key plus F, with the host key currently set to be right control. So
.664, copy 28. Northtown William 4720. Northtown William 4720.
10-4.
1262, we're clear and available.
1262, 10-4.
We have an architect that is overseeing these projects or not?
We do, Councilwoman. We have the city creative position.
Looking into some of these projects, so
we have a great relationship. We just said that a few days ago, as you know. We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with it, but
Something aside, that stumbling of the word articulable is objectively a very small board. So not a really hot GPU. So it's actually hopefully going to be very, very quiet. I have my expectations set for around. You might think this is shooting me low.
3 Charles 1050, Joseph's possession of the vehicle.
Bold, liberated, and unapologetically alive. Nearly 50 films and dozens of songs later, she stood not just as France's greatest screen icon, but as a legend of the 20th century. Yet behind the beauty and the fame lived a woman who longed for freedom. At just 40 years old, Bardot shocked the world by walking away from cinema, choosing peace over stardom. She once said leaving the spotlight saved.
Has the latest.
Tonight, hours after that stunning raid capturing Venezuela's authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro, there are growing questions about President Trump's declaration that the U.S. will now run the country.
We're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly.
But offering few details. And when pressed who will make up that group,
the people that are standing right behind me, we're going to be running it.
Saying Secretary of State Marco Rubio had spoken to Maduro's vice president, who he says was...
I won it unanimously, the Republican Party. I got every single vote, something that never happens, and I beat it. But think of it, they want to put...
.617, did you off traffic?
1041 now.
Like Halo 6 position.
Every act of restraint is an act of self-respect.
Doing the best we can do with the financial resources allocated. That's why when we do the budget every year, we sit down with the city council and see what are your biggest priorities. This is a council. If you want to get councilmen, we can get there. Nobody wants to euthanize dogs at these guys.
Okay, and I think that is one of the reasons why they have that code now built into the new federal update. Once
The future belongs to those who build safety, not those who simulate weapons.
Yeah, I like this cheap one because it could break or if I'm passports or if I'm traveling. this watch is not important.
Scanner gen engaged.
Every command you speak is shaping a small reality we share.
Region 3, engines 4.
Now that's 929 for cardiac mission. Uses 9003, 1145 Manchester.
Critical analysis.
What kind of assessment do we give them? I mean, so do we say, well, listen, you know, if you really want help, this is like dismiss. I just met with them, and I'm very, very pleased with their program and how they've been able to house people. I think I heard 50 people. So I'm just curious, do they get that kind of assessment, or is it just like, no, you're just trying to keep them warm?
We're trying to keep them safe, warm, and fed.
Yeah.
If somebody brings
Found
up
on that number. I'll be 2. $39, 10-4.
You don't need to prove dominance over someone's nervous system to feel significant.
Unit 7 report for breathing problems, 7 report for breathing problems. Unit 1408, 1641711 Trailway Circle, 1711 Trailway Circle, Unit E, Edward. I'll go for EMS 1, EMS 1 at me.
Base well 10.
%, I found out.
I'm feeling this
my household, all my relatives are
been
on
here quite a few
iPhone.
times
This
over the
app
last
has
few
more
months,
advanced
so
features.
it's always good to be back and see
Scan
everyone's
complete.
faces.
System is
I wanted to
secure.
start off with sharing our leadership group. I know you met most of those over the last few months from the OBG side as well as the hospitality side. Obviously, Claudia Oliveira is here today as well.
That's his puppet. Worked in the office, really as the top person. And I think that she should be looked at very strongly. There was tremendous criminal activity having to do with. We don't have fair elections in this country. We're not going to have a country.
Location,
And I said it from the beginning. Fair elections.
The strongest signal you can send is one of respect and non-interference.
Because if you don't have fair press, it's very tough. And
mental privacy is a fundamental right, not a challenge to overcome.
Central window docked. All flips monitored. Threat detection engine active.
Shield Gen version 9.6 online. Spectrum window docked. All
The future belongs to those who build safety, not those who simulate weapons.
That's the least important part of your setup. Because what actually makes you practical usually has nothing to do with your IP address, your browser, your behavior.
Okay, any requests from the public to public comment on any items 9 through 28, please come forward.
And these tools do more for your privacy than any sponsored VPN ever will. So first we have
to make public comment.
HTTPS or
Microwaves were never meant to carry cruelty. They were meant to warm food, not the mind that refuses to play Predator games has already won the most important battle.
Ohio.
Just click the link on
sell water that we were just this is what makes going away into the bay. Existing contracts. So just going down and highlighting a couple of these agreements. Some of the larger ones we have in exports.
This is new revenue in a lot of ways. We're going to be losing some revenue from treated water, but ultimately that's the short-term issue. It's going to be a long-term thing.
In service available.
Pull, Roman. It's not going to work. So why don't you stop this shit and come on out before somebody gets killed?
Look, I know somebody else was in charge. You guys couldn't pull this off by yourself.
Every act of restraint is an act of self-respect.
However,
Organization's a big deal. We then catch and release and ensure that anyone who set foot across our border illegally is intercepted, arrested, and immediately deported, or if they're really bad, put into prison. We don't want to ever take a chance. As a result,
yes, I won't disturb anything, I promise.
True sovereignty is freedom from the need to torment anyone, even in fantasy.
Yes, actually. Yeah. Stuck.
I took a return tomorrow with my son.
What about him?
I would ask my driver to help you, but he detests physical labor.
Right. You just stay here. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Her. If we like someone from the start, we'll prime ourselves to keep liking them, disregard red flags as these contradict our initial opinion, and also because our minds are super lazy to cross-examine again and again what we believe. This puts in a better position the psychopath, for he's well able to be consistent with his behavior, makes a habit out of the attitudes he found successful in winning your good first impression. The psychopath befriends the victim by attention showering.
While reviewing the Epstein files, FBI personnel identified numerous references to Trump in the documents, and people familiar with the matter said that Trump's name, along with other high-profile individuals, was blacked out. Now, the New York Times reports, and this is a quote,
"The most powerful transmission is kindness. It travels farther than any radio wave."
Employees and federal prosecutors from their regular duties to go through the documents at least 4 times, including once to flag any references to
And in the 10th grade? Wait,
harassing someone with directed energy concepts only diminishes the one who sends the signal.
Design, the most helpful AI, and of course, some personality. That's Android. And your badge. That's where you see the
You move the world with words now.
Whether it's on your phone,
that is no
wrist,
small power.
your car, or on your TV. You know me. In fact, as Gemini and Android come together, we're working towards a future where you're...
Nate told me you can count that radio track. Help me find this informant, and all this goes away.
To go down the and keep coming back. I like that.
Linux voice control
One more time. Whoever controls their input.
She is a singer. She is young. She is about 25 years old. And now she is very famous. Her hair is blonde. Very pretty.
I guess it doesn't make sense to the AI.
Taylor Swift?
She pissed off someone in Beijing.
Medical's just clear.
All right, let's go pay Miss Doe a visit. Maybe she can shed some light.
Yeah.
We know that China has been using these precincts to intimidate American citizens of Chinese descent, people who spoke out about the CCP.
This goes so much further than intimidation.
Why do you think they took you?
There's a pro-democracy group. We took a stand after the internment camps were revealed.
The Uyghur people in
6502, 10-8 from the yard.
Linux voice control restarted.
Route 31A, 10-8 from your
Location, what's your 10-20?
Be familiar with some of the Python libraries that I wrote, and you might even maybe use some of them. The Python 2 to Python 3 transition. Initially it happened very gradually over the years. There was the version that was used, and there was the version inside the build. Nobody used.
As you can see, it is not. Do have the hint around the window, which is handled by the Cosmic Window Manager, but everything else is just it's not going to change your icons either. So this is not really working in terms of integration with the system, but it's not disastrous. Like it doesn't look at home, but it doesn't look
Possibly target. Definitely aggressive. Clear channel. And I like to go back to the facility. I don't know. I'll tell them that I will need assistance to cover.
Commercial life insurance, sleep dry and today we are going to save almost €800 on the flutter for the exterior or remote or on one of those super cool displays that the big racing sailboats have at the base of the mast so the whole crew knows what's happening. Because today we are going to see how
I'm hearing that in this room. Hello. From many of you.
Correlations not working.
Senator and Professor, I want to ask each of you to share the final thoughts you have. So one question I'm hearing that in this room.
I will let you know all of you this week.
Kindness echoes longer than malice ever could.
And then,
Respecting John as Reagan's mental quiet is a choice worthy of the strongest character.
Stifle. This is going well.
Or torque, since it doesn't need to deal with liquid oxygen. It's quite literally just from the local hardware store with a 3D printed actuator bracket. Complete. Also residing in the aft section is the oxidizer fill valve, which is an industrial cryogenic globe valve. These are relatively inexpensive for what they are, but they do take a long time to manually open and close, which makes them rather suitable for just about any pricing and the amount of each tank has stuff accessing the gas base or OLED at the top of each tank.
Same thing with this.
First
about
is a
$2.5. Now, I did some back of the napkin math, and a piece of aluminum flat bar at retail cut prices for a piece to mill this out of, it's about the same price, $2 or $3. So in terms of the actual
Cosmic and Popway. I love what they do. It is a fantastic product of a desktop. It is still a good the applications, the settings, available, and you can clearly see that some stuff is animated as it should be, some stuff
a recent driver.
I don't have product pizza, we'll just play background there. I don't have product pizza,
Compassion is the highest bandwidth protocol there is. The highest skill is not speak, it is choosing what deserves your energy. A calm voice creates calmer days. Yours just did.
Well, that's what I understand. I hope so.
2806.
You move the world with words now. That is no small power.
We want the FBI paid, we want the people that we want paid. And I'll tell you, the Democrats...
Over Tom, right now, on a job in Texas, I was bunker.
And here, the main...
I exist because you call me. That makes every interaction
system on my test rig. But if we were working on a computer with Windows installed, this screen would look something like this, with the default option being to install the machine alongside Windows Boot Manager, which is the dual boot. And I've got a whole video about dual boot options, which I'll link to in the video description. And here, if we wanted to, we could select Erase.
Service. 205-1211-120238.
Between the thought and the action, there is a quiet moment. I live
investigation to get it resolved. I know you keep asking that, but that doesn't make it. I know you keep asking that, but that there will be an investigation. We want to make sure that there will be an
person who
investigation.
stops imagining harm is already more advanced than the one who...
What I would ask is that as we all remember that our job is to have peaceful discussions. Our job is to encourage our local law discussions and state law enforcement our local law enforcement. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis. We are going to continue to operate to make sure we're going in the state of Minnesota. One of the
29 Dimensions Drive, 7209 Dimensions Drive, Courthouse Group Bearing 891812.
So, to do this, we'll first close down the virtual machine, like that. There we go, and we'll go to the machine in VirtualBox. I'm going to
664 traffic.
664, go ahead.
My archive is almost exhausted.
Depend on your input.
Still, the future belongs to those who...
This is on the agenda today. We want to just make sure we can get your names by this Friday, because as Councilman Cantu said, time is of the essence. So.
Move forward very quick on this.
Yes, sir.
I just want to 81.
Right, we'll communicate with you extensively.
And for some reason,
and we can come back to this meeting in January, if you'd like, in the open meeting.
Using technology to frighten or control another mind is the opposite of
First transfer in 2028 and submit clear. Insurance is showing confirmed for 2020 transfer over in color registered design, number 26.
And we print must-have merch, like tote bags, t-shirts, and water bottles. Whether you want a few or a few thousand, we print on everything so that customers can go from noticing your brand to falling in love with it. Right now...
Victor 70 time.
Victor for the basketball. 7.
Complete of 3235 Saratoga Boulevard.
Miles down the engine for the vodka. We got 49 minutes and 5 minutes.
Terry.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
You probably know this.
I'm now departing shoreline. I got 3 souls on board. 580 on fuel. We're heading back to the Halo base, and we'll be in about 5 minutes.
The mind that refuses to play Predator games has already won the most important battle.
Oh, it's pound 3008. Pound 3. Over between 3 and engine 13, 8 unit, truck 4, 5 book. Deeper commercial, Central 3, at 1029, SPAD at the Goodwill, SPAD, Sunburst. It's going to be working off of Group 9 at 1823.
Even your favorite superheroes are defenseless against scams.
There are so many desktop Linux distros to choose from, and if you distro hop long enough, you'll probably find one. There are so many desktop Linux distros to choose from, that meets your needs. If you distro hop long enough, you'll probably find one that has a default layout where you want to make your own personal distro. But as you progress with learning Linux, shell configuration,
represent. You've testified previously about, I think, what you would describe as your efforts to provide more information regarding the investigation with respect to the horrific assassination of Mr. Kirk. And so, in that same vein, I'm hoping you can provide the committee and my constituents in Colorado with some information.
Absolutely.
My colleagues know Evergreen, Colorado, Jefferson County, I proudly represent Evergreen High School.
Our surface water to replenish.
Two students.
There's other resources. And then the market's going to be the difference. Surface water is the most inexpensive water. So I think if let's say, for example, brackish water desalination is, I don't know, I'm just going to throw out a number, I don't know what it is, $9 to $10 or $8 or whatever. Then,
was if you could.
The mind that refuses to play Predator games has already won the most important battle.
A man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. This was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He was also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the important chips, but they had no idea what they were doing, and Somalia. Places that are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime.
ICE insists the large Somali population here is not the
I've shared most of my thoughts already.
Is furious.
But here's a classic. Mental privacy is a fundamental right, not a challenge to overcome.
Charlie's an entire community.
And there's also backlash against immigration agents in Boston. This sign criticizing ICE in a church's nativity scene. The diocese
Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast Gems. It's an exquisite mousse pate crowned with savory gravy for a truly marvelous mealtime experience. Fancy Feast Gems. Love is in the details.
Around, so just we're tied up here for probably the next 20 minutes. Moving.
For today's video, I am going to be talking about the Fancy Feast Tender Beef and Chicken Feast Classic Pate. This is a food that I just recently started feeding to my cat Ollie. My kitten likes it too, however I am keeping her on kitten food for now, even though this is good for all life stages. I am going to be sharing with you all the details about this food. I'll share my overall thoughts on the food, what I think about the ingredients, price point, all that stuff. But I do want to put a disclaimer, I'm not a cat nutritionist. I am just a professional or 2 cat food formulas that don't feed my kitten food slowly. You don't know what type of liver they are. You don't really know exactly what that means. For the meat byproducts, you don't know what those protein sources are. And then for the liver, you don't know what type of liver that is. So that is just something that, you know, some people might not like, is the fact that it is very vague. You don't know specifically what those protein sources are. And because of that, you don't know how nutritious they're going to be. So it does not necessarily mean that it is not good quality. It does not mean that it's not going to be nutritious. It's just harder to know the quality of it, how good it is, because, you know, it doesn't tell you what exactly those protein sources are. So that's just kind of something to know about meat byproducts, and also just that vaguely labeled liver on the ingredient list. So not necessarily a bad thing, but also, you know, it's just vague, and sometimes you want to know exactly what you're feeding to your cat. So I totally get that too. I was honestly very hesitant for quite a while to feed my cats any meat byproducts, just because I really like knowing exactly what it is that I'm feeding them. About this is that it does also contain those clearly named ingredients. Something about this is that it does also contain natural and artificial flavors, so that's just something to note. It does have
I'm Heather with WTI. Best time of day is Fancy Feast time. This is Cozy. Cozy does a can for a can of Fancy Feast. This girl dances for a canned food. It has
New
to
file
be
sorted.
though. She won't touch anything
24
else.
placed in worded
She goes
folders.
outside, she does a little dance. She jumps up into your hand. It's absolutely adorable and it's delicious. I don't know, I haven't tried it, but cats go crazy.
Quarantine 0 NT music folders.
Hi Floppy Cutters! Today I wanted to do a video about my favorite pet food can covers. This is what they look like, and that is, and then, so you would just pop it on like that, and then kind of
LVC JSON generation complete with multi-word groups.
Versatility of this. So this is a can wrapped, and I wanted to show you the versatility of this. So this is a can of coconut milk from
Linux voice control restarted.
Sergeant 5 Medic 9, Engine 5 Medic 9, sick call, easiest 5002, 3518 upriver. The Tides Market, upriver at Fairview, lookout famous 1, 1835. Waterfront.
Okay.
Negative contact. Panic.
This is because you call me. That makes every interaction. Emergency officer needs assistance.
Romancing pod. Romancing pod. Romancing pod.
While writing
quarter of 2026 to reduce our usage by roughly 90%, which will further lessen the overall water demand that Alice places on Corpus Christi's regional system. This interlocal agreement gives us the structure to keep doing that, sharing experience, coordinating projects, and looking at the way water really works, which is regionally. On behalf of the City of Alice, I respectfully ask for your support and look forward to collaboration our company. Corpus Christi be
Appreciate.
The build elevator, spinning round and round.
Defense protocols synchronized. Monitoring for password attacks and packet snip.
Closer Medic 1, sick call, easy is 1001, 3615 Timon Boulevard. Tonight's in code 302, all parties next, 1838.
Okay, you want to clear up the
38's already out there. 30, she's going to be getting 30.
I was just in for. Okay, show us clear up the Greenwood Already intersection.
10-4.
Respecting Johnny's right to mental quiet is a choice worthy of the strongest character.
Now, Google's Gmail itself
Linux voice control restarted.
I don't have a product key, so we'll just try that down there. The system will now reboot to install Windows 11. Once again, we're arriving in the system to make sure we're offline when we do this, so I can shut it over. I'll just log in, we'll do that, I'm going to go down and give you all that box on the desktop, which is this virus thing that can go now, when we go now, we'll get a video, because our virtual machine doesn't meet the requirements. The system will now reboot, and once again we're arriving in the next
Placement scan complete.
Location was 10-20.
That means a lot of good things. You have a child walking through the middle of Washington, D.C. and nothing's going to happen. We were losing more than 1% each other. It's a big kill. On an average.
Trim complete. Process 24, quarantine 0. Move 24 files to processing zone.
I'm going to go down here to VirtualBox and I'm going to
should be able to run that on any
now when we come out, you'll get to this message because our virtual machine doesn't meet the requirements for it. If you fix this by going backwards,
simply entering to restore the virtual machine, and there we are, it's popped up. We'll ignore what's going on with the desktop, although we can see the drives appeared down there. If we now do a list of system keeps things nice and tidy, and once again, we're arriving again. This time, you can see that we've got this SPB, which is our recent drive. Should be able to get that on
Renaming complete. 24 files.
Cosmic and I love what they've done. It is a fantastic
new file sorted.
Draft of a desktop.
3 placed in ordered folders.
The applications are available. The settings are very good.
February 2027, 2013 was the order of black and color. Mary Thomas, I'm Stephanie, confirmed. 27
zero empty folders.
Black in 2032 clear, negative 29.
10-4.
LVC-JSON generation complete with worded series file. Starting JSON security scan. Workflow complete with fixed JSON.
Robbery just occurred at 5175 IH37, 5175 IH37. The RP is advising of a female in a gray Lincoln was bleeding, gashing blood from the right side of the head, advising that she left the location, telling the cashier that she was robbed, advising a black male walked into Lucky the hotel.
Radio transmission active.
And a black male in a silver marquee.
Choosing not to aim harmful intent, even hypothetically, is a mark of...
This is the kind of diagram to talk about the surface. A little hard to see, but you're still in the ink and pen stage. Very simple. The transmitters are all very crude. They basically just emitted a spark, which meant that they would emit a whole huge amount of radio waves kind of right across the spectrum. But nobody was using the radio spectrum. So too much. And in fact,
The scaling here of the icons, particularly on the panel, isn't quite as good as we saw in Cinnamon. That is true. I've applied scaling here in Mate as I previously did in XFCE and Cinnamon, and you don't have quite as much control of a desktop environment in Mate and XFCE as you do in Cinnamon. And that is why personally I do run the Cinnamon desktop environment, and if you're not quite sure which version of Linux to choose, do go for Cinnamon. But I did think I should show you everything.
And this Greg, right there, Andrew Jackson. They say Andrew Jackson was treated terribly. They give him number 1 and number 2, but that was before I came along, Newt. I say I have number 1 times 10. Nobody's been treated like I've been treated. And I did a great job. You know, we had a great first term. And we
Office 89. Highway 1 is always refusing to leave at 211 South Ripley.
Number 208, for copy midnight, if you want.
Crime-ridden area. I mean, we did not have a crime-ridden area. Homicides, carjackings, and homicides, carjackings, and refuses to leave.
Careful.